The housing market is at a turning point, and here in the Bay Area, we're going through a shift. If you're thinking of buying a home, you may be wondering, is it still a good time to buy a home? Should you make a move this year? To help answer those questions, let's turn to the experts for projections on what the second half of the year holds for residential real estate. At the end of the video, I will also share with you the most recent numbers for the East Bay real estate market for single-family homes to see how this is actually playing out. And I'll give you my advice as to how you can decide if now is the right time to buy or not. Hey, my name is Mac Rogers. I'm a real estate broker here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Welcome to the channel. Quick housekeeping. Please click the like button. It greatly helps out our channel. If you like the content, please subscribe. If you're thinking of buying or selling real estate, give us a call, a text, or an email. We'd love to help you out. One of the questions being asked or being considered when deciding to buy a house is where are mortgage rates headed? This is what dominates buyers' minds, and sellers should also keep an eye out for this as we move towards the rest of 2022. I don't have to tell you, no one has a crystal ball and know exactly what will happen in the future. What housing market experts know for sure is that record low mortgage rates during the pandemic were an outlier and not the norm. This year, rates have climbed over 2% due to the Federal Reserve's response to rising inflation. If you want to know or guess where mortgage rates will be headed, all you have to do is look at inflation. The simple fact is, if inflation continues to rise, it's likely that mortgage rates will respond as well. And guess what? Most recently, inflation hit a 40-year high at 9.1%. Guess what happened to mortgage rates the next day? It went up. Greg McBride, Chief Financial Analyst at Bankrate, explains it well. Until inflation peaks, mortgage rates won't either. Without improvement on the inflation front, we don't know where the interest rate ceiling will be. I have a video about this. Check it out. The one thing that will crash this housing market, that would be mortgage rates continuing to increase. Whether you're buying your first home or selling your current house to make a move, today's mortgage rate is an important factor to consider. When rates rise, they impact affordability and your purchasing power. That's why it's crucial to work with a team of professionals so you have expert advice to help you make an informed decision about your best move. The second thing that home buyers need to be aware of is inventory. This year, particularly this spring, the number of homes for sale has grown. That's partly due to more homeowners listing their houses, but also because higher mortgage rates have helped ease the intensity of buyer demand. Slowing buyer demand slows down the pace of home sales, which in turn helps inventory increase. Experts say that inventory growth will continue. Recently, Realtor.com updated their 2022 inventory forecast. In the latest release, they increased their projections for inventory gains dramatically. Get this, from 0.3% increase at the beginning of the year to a big jump of 15% by the end of 2022. More homes to choose from is great news if you're craving more options for your home search. Just know that there's not going to be a sudden surplus of inventory on the horizon. Housing supply is still low, so you'll need to still move decisively when you do find that home of your dreams, or maybe at this point, I should say, a home that you can barely afford. It's not going to be easy to find a home, but it certainly won't be as difficult as it has been over the past 2 years. The third one, and this is where I think most buyers gets it wrong or gets too overly concerned about. Where are home prices going? Is it going up? Is it going down? Is it going sideways? Here's the thing. Home price forecast is for ongoing appreciation. A slowdown in price appreciation, not depreciation. Due to the imbalance between the number of homes for sale and the number of buyers looking to make a purchase, the pandemic led to record-breaking increases in home prices. According to CoreLogic, homes appreciated by 15% in 2021, and they've continued to rise this year. Even though housing supply is increasing today, there are still more buyers than there are homes for sale. That's maintaining the upward pressure on home prices. That's why experts are not calling for a price decline. Rather, they're forecasting they'll continue to climb just at a more moderate pace this year. On average, homes are projected to appreciate by about 8.5% in 2022. Let me share with you a couple of graphs here that emphasizes this point. This graph here is the forecast for home price appreciation back in December of 2021. The average of the forecast was 5.1%. I said back then that I was confident that they will increase this forecast. The next graph is the forecast back in January of this year. As you can see, the average increased slightly from 5.1% to 5.2%. During this time, I still believe that the forecast will be revised upwards. The next set of forecasts came out in March and we went from 5.2% to 6.1% average. That's almost 1% higher. Still at that time, I believe it was going to be revised higher again because during that time, there were so many buyers out there trying to take advantage of mortgage rates and prices that were just getting pushed up to record levels. The next graph is the April revised forecast. Again, forecast was revised higher. During this time, we were still in the middle of the frenzy. Yes, mortgage rates were up already at this time, but not as bad as where we are now. And then the May forecast arrived, and as you can see, they revised the numbers upwards again. I believe that during this time, the forecasters were still looking at what was happening in the market and saw all the activity and thereby upping their forecast. However, around May is when we started seeing a glimpse of a slowdown. No one wanted to talk about it, but it was like in the shadows. Finally, we are here in July. Take a look at the latest home price forecast. The average is down from 9% to 8.5%. This is what experts are saying. Home price appreciation will slow down and go back to more normal levels. If I was a betting man, I'd say they will revise this downwards again. I think this slowdown is more severe, especially if the Feds raise rates again in their next meeting. Selma Hepp, Deputy Chief Economist at CoreLogic, explains why the housing market will see deceleration but not depreciation in prices. The current home price growth rate is unsustainable, and higher mortgage rates coupled with more inventory will lead to slower home price growth but unlikely declines in home prices. For current homeowners looking to sell, know your home's value isn't projected to fail, but waiting to make your purchase does mean your next home could cost more as home prices continue to appreciate. That's why, if you're thinking about buying your first home or you're ready to make a move, it may make sense to do so now before prices climb higher. But rest assured, once you buy a home, that price appreciation will help grow the value of your investment. Now, as I promised, I wanted to share with you how all these changes affected the latest numbers that we have for June here in the East Bay. The theme, if you will, for all the majority of these places are more homes for sale, prices still up, less closed transactions. Let's begin with the 880 corridor. Only Albany, Berkeley, and Oakland did not increase in inventory. Castro Valley, Hayward, and Newark at or above 100% increase. Sales prices, Alameda, San Lorenzo, and Union City are all marginally down. The rest of the cities are still up. Albany up a big 32%. The number of homes sold, pretty much a majority of the cities are down. Fremont, the biggest decline, down 41%, and San Lorenzo, the biggest gainer, up 40%. In West Contra Costa County, El Cerrito, Hercules, and El Sobrante all down in inventory. Pinole and San Pablo up over 30%. Sales prices in West Contra Costa County are all up except for El Cerrito. San Pablo up a big 30%. The number of homes sold in West Contra Costa County are all down. Let's move on to Central Contra Costa County. The number of homes for sale, Clayton and Pleasant Hill both down, but the rest of the cities are up. Home prices in Central Contra Costa County I would describe as kind of flat, with the exception of Walnut Creek, up by 7%. The number of homes sold, only Pleasant Hill up by one house. Moving on to LAMORINDA. LAMORINDA homes for sale, Lafayette and Moraga down and Orinda up. Sales prices, Lafayette a bargain at 1.9, while Moraga and Orinda around 2.3 million. All up, by the way. The number of homes sold in LAMORINDA, only Moraga was unchanged. The other two both down. Let's look at the Tri-Valley. Only Alamo down in inventory. San Ramon up a whopping 405%. If there was ever a time to buy a house in San Ramon, that would be now. Call me. The increase in inventory did not affect prices, particularly San Ramon. San Ramon up the biggest by 22%. I say most likely this changes next month. The number of homes sold in the Tri-Valley all down. Only 8 households bought an Alamo this past June. I'm slightly disappointed. Only 8 could afford a median home price of 2.9 million. Where are all the local athletes and celebrities? Finally, the Delta, where prices used to be cheap but not anymore. But if I were to guess, most likely we see a lot of price improvements moving forward. Every city in the Delta has more inventory. Buyers, this is your chance. Again, call me. Just like in the Tri-Valley, even though inventory is up, that hasn't translated to lower prices. Prices are up everywhere. The number of homes sold all down in the Delta. So what do you do if you're thinking of buying, whether it's in the East Bay, the Bay Area, or for that matter, any part of the country? The first thing, and this is the most obvious, is do you still have a need? If you answer yes, move on to step number 2. That is, are you still qualified? This is particularly important if you started your home search last year or even just 3 months ago. You need to run the numbers again with your lender. And if you're still qualified and still want to buy a house and maybe concerned about where home prices are headed, you need to ask yourself, how long will you be in the house that you are buying? If the answer to this is 5 to 7 years or more, then tune out all the things that you hear about home prices and get out there and get that dream house of yours. Call me. Look, real estate has performed amazingly well throughout the years. And if you're looking to stay at your home for a long period of time, the odds are in your favor. Let me land this conversation with a real life scenario before I wrap it up. I was talking to a seller the other day and she wanted to sell her home. We talked about the fact that maybe 6 months ago, she could have easily sold her property between $850 to $900. In today's environment, she is more likely looking at $825 to $850 the way things are moving in her neighborhood and in the city where she lives in general. $50,000 is a lot of money, but she bought the house over 15 years ago at around $250,000. That's what I mean by do not be overly concerned about what price you're paying for now. The bottom line, whether you're a home buyer or a seller, you need to know what's happening in the housing market so you can make the most informed decision possible. Let's connect, discuss your goals and what lies ahead so you can determine the best plan for your move. Thanks for watching and check out my free home buyer's guide below. Have a great day.